Hello folks, this is Solo speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is a replay supplied by Myth. I guess it's not really a replay because we don't have replays for Teamfight Tactics, but it is a recording supplied by Myth. It's taken from one of his ranked games, and in this one we're going to be looking at a multicaster reroll game, specifically one focused on Twisted Fate, one of the new units added in set 9.5. I have not watched this whole replay yet, although I have seen the outcome of the game. So this is going to be a bit of a watch and comment experience for me. Normally I'm doing my own game, so I already know what happens, but this is going to be a little bit of a surprise for me as well. Now it looks like everybody wants to pick Scuttle Puddle here on the initial portal. 7 out of 8 people pick this. This one is the one where the monsters are replaced by scuttle crabs that don't deal any damage and drop additional loot. It basically just means everybody gets additional economy. So you can play very, very greedy here on the initial minion rounds. We'll see how greedy Myth decides to be. But basically it just means everybody gets accelerated econ. Lowy seems to be having some problems killing the scuttle crabs here, but they don't deal any damage, so inevitably she'll eventually kill everything, even though it's going to take overtime to do it. This is pretty funny, actually. All right, anyway, so this is going to be a multicaster reroll game, as I said, featuring Twisted Fate. I wouldn't say that multicaster is particularly popular right now as a trait. So you can see what Myth's doing is he's just playing Samira here. Normally you could not just play Samira, she would die to the minions, but you can do that here. And you'll be able to stack up additional gold. As I said, it's one of the things you can do with Scuttle Puddle 1. Okay, so as I said, multicasters, not especially popular. This has been kind of a reroll meta, is my understanding. I haven't been playing a ton of Teamfight Tactics in general overall. By the way, with the Rek'Sai there, I might have tried to look to play the Cho plus Rek'Sai together, but Myth is just favoring the Econ here. He could also just buy up part of the board here if he wanted to, but he's again opting to play max Econ here, which is again not the worst way to play when you've got this particular portal, is just see how he was at 10 gold there, and then he's going to be able presumably to get up to, he can get up to 20 gold here because the Scuttle Crabs always drop at least 1 gold. There's 4 of them, he's at 16 gold right now, so he'll be able to be at 20 gold here, which is just insane from an economic start. And it does mean that he's going to have to put an actual board together at some point, but it does mean he's going to have an awful lot of money available to do that. I have to see what augment he gets here. But of course, we know he's already going to be going into Twisted Fate, and he's going to be going into Multicaster Reroll. He didn't know that at the time, but you and I know that because this is recorded footage and not like a live stream that we're watching live. Yeah, there you go. Got to go to exactly 20. Very nice. Okay, so he's running Twisted Fate for his legend. That is the one that is specifically designed for re-rolling, and you always have Pandora's items as an option. I guess it's not necessarily innately for re-rolling, but it does mean that you get the option to ideally make perfect items. Now, I personally don't like this one that much. I've never really liked Pandora's items very much. I never liked kind of the whole notion of greeting for perfect items. I'm always someone who's kind of preferred to play around the items that you get. But certainly a lot of people do like this one, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and make a Gunblade there, which is a pretty flexible item. It can be used on most of the casting champions. Almost any spellcaster can make use of this. I wouldn't know that it's always necessarily a best early game slam. That's because its value tends to be stronger in the mid to late game. Just in the early game, damage is very low, so the amount of healing that you're getting off the Gunblade is also very low in the early game. But it is very flexible, which is one nice thing about it, is you can play it on a whole bunch of different champions. This can be used on, it could be used on someone like Soko if you're going the Sorcerer's route. It's a decent item on Azir if you want to go down the Shurima line. It's certainly something that's been popular on people playing Cassiopeia when they reroll Cassiopeia, which has been pretty popular recently. So, as I said, a lot of different options here. It's an item that's nicely flexible. So Myth has gotten another rod. If he wants to continue emphasizing the AP route, he can go in that direction. Could also pick up the Samira here if he wanted to reroll Samira, but we know he's not going to end up going in that direction. If he wins this round, he could also sell his entire bench to get the 30 gold is another possibility. I believe he would have to win the round. Someone is egregiously open fording. That person on 92 health, they just have 1 unit. So I think Myth is going to see who he's up against and go off of that. He did not get the AFK player, but he is up against someone else who's also not really playing much of a board. They have a bunch of items on their bench, and yeah, they're just basically playing econ. They have two bruisers and then an Oriana behind that. So pretty sure Myth is going to win this round, and then I'm assuming he's just going to sell his whole bench and get up to the 30 gold mark, which is again yep, that's exactly what he's doing. Playing a really nice econ start here, and he is super duper rich. He's at 30 gold on 2-2. Pretty good. That person apparently took Tiny Titans. It is nice when you have the silver opening, the silver augment opener, because it means that there's not going to be that much power in the lobby, at least not out of the gate. Now, if he's really lucky, he'll hit the AFK player, and then he could be on 40 gold here. But more realistically, the odds of that are only 1 in 6. So that's probably not going to happen. He should probably actually play some more units on his board, just accept he's not going to be at 40 gold after this round. So far, he's been playing challengers. Again, Myth really has nothing here. It's just the people he's been playing have even less on their boards. I'm sure he's hoping that he's going to hit the AFK player who is just playing absolutely nothing. But no, he's actually playing someone who's already leveled to 5, so he's probably going to lose this round. This person's got some kind of bilge water set up here. So at some point, Myth is going to have to actually start playing a board. So far, he hasn't really done that yet. It does look like his little modest win streak's going to come to an end here. Let's see, can he kill the Kiana? No, he's not focusing it, so he's not going to kill that unit. So yeah, once he came up against someone who's actually playing something, he is going to end up taking a loss. I'm interested to see when he actually starts moving into multicasters, because he hasn't done that just yet. Maybe here on the carousel, that's going to give him a little bit of direction as far as what he wants. He's hovering the tier. Let's see if he wants that Sona. He's a 3 gold champ with a tier, so that's kind of nice. Always nice if we can get those 3 gold champs. All right, looks like he was able to get what he wanted. Seems as though he wanted the tier. Now, of course, he is playing Pandora's items for his initial augment, so anything he picks up in terms of components will re-roll into other components over time. But if there's something you specifically want, it's always nice if you can just get it, because then you don't have to worry about, do I have to sit here for 7 rounds hoping that this component's going to turn into what I want it to become? And it appears as though he does want the tier, so he can make blue buff here if he wants to, and I believe that's what he's looking for. Okay, so he does that. He also has the Sona. If he's looking to force multicasters, he certainly has the Sona for it. And it looks like he does want to head in that direction. So he's just kind of playing challengers, as I said. Doesn't really have a whole lot so far. But he is using Cassiopeia, it appears, as an item holder, and going to head in that direction. It does not appear as though anyone else in the lobby is playing multicasters. And again, that's not that surprising. They're really not that popular, as I understand it. Myth's up to 44 gold, so he's certainly very rich. This person's only on 20 gold in the bank. That person is level 5 to his level 4, though, so could be a trickier round. Of course, Myth's actually committed some more items, and the blue buff is pretty good on Cassiopeia. As I said, it's a pretty solid item. Not going to be enough to win this round, but at least it's not a particularly bad loss. Killed 2 units on the other team. For a board that's all 1 stars and is only level 4, that's actually not bad. That's a pretty good result right there. And there's another Nefiri here and another Cass. You might as well pick these up. There's no reason not to. They don't cost gold. Let's see. Would he prefer? He's getting Shurima trait in here right now. I feel like you might as well pick these units up. And you're going to play Sorks instead for the time being? Okay. Going to move these items over to the malls, I'm assuming, and have Sork trait in play. Okay. So yeah, basically it does appear as though he is not going to play some of these units long term. He's just kind of killing time here, looking for the units he actually wants to play. Definitely hasn't had a ton of success in terms of finding multicasters, if that's what he's going for here. He's found, took the Sona off carousel, but has not actually found a single one in the shop yet. Still, as his level increases, he'll have better odds to find these. The multicaster units are all 2 and 3 costs. There's a pair of 2 costs in the form of Talia and Twisted Fate, and then there's a pair of 3 costs in the form of Vel'Koz and Sona. So they're all like mid-tier units in terms of cost. So you're not as likely to find them at level 4, but you'll have better odds to find them as you get to, you want to get to like, I don't know, like level 6, level 7. Probably hold at level 6 for a while if you're going to play this board. And right now just has a 2-star Warwick. The big issue when you're playing any kind of spellcasting setup like this is you always want to make sure you have enough frontline to be effective. And as of right now, Warwick with no items is not really a particularly strong front line. So Myth's going to have to find something there. The unit you typically would want is Swain, just because he is another 2-cost unit that you can reroll for. And he actually provides pretty good front line, especially if you can 3-star him, although that's a little bit trickier to do. Let's see, Myth's gotten a cloak. Apparently he wants to hold on to the cloak, so because he put it on the Warwick. Does build into some nice tank items. And actually quite a lot of gold here, so Myth is super wealthy. I'm assuming he wants to just get up to level 6 quickly and then stay at level 6 based on the board that he's looking for. Yeah, so he goes to level 6, and now he's going to roll here. Hits the 2-star Ori. Also has the 2-star Nefiri, although I don't think he really wants that unit. Again, if he's looking to play multicasters, he's really not having very much luck thus far in terms of hitting these units. I guess maybe that's what this other person, the person on 62 health, is trying to play. Seems like that's maybe what they want. All right, he's picking up some Swains here. He did Swain 2-star. That's kind of nice. Definitely going to be better than the Warwick. And then he found a TF, and he found another Sona there as well. So yeah, definitely looks like he wants to move this stuff over to the TF. So definitely hard forcing the whatchamacallit, the multicaster reroll here, because if you were going to look to play if you were not looking to play multicasters, this was not the game to do it, because he didn't find any multicasters at all. Like throughout this entire early game has found just absolutely none of these units. So it looks like this is going to be a hard force. Based on the setup here, I think rolling for Sorks might have been better, because the game actually gave him some Sorks, but nope, it's going to be multicasters, and sometimes you just know what you want to play. So looks like he's going to be heading in that direction, which we already knew because that was the theme of the video. Okay, so out of these particular options, if you're rerolling army building is pretty good. Gain a lesser champion duplicator, and then after 7 rounds, gain another lesser duplicator. So definitely makes it easier. Now he just needs to find, who's the one he's missing? Vel'Koz for 4 multicasters is the other one. And I'm assuming he's looking for a rod for Twisted Fate to finish out that, to make a Jeweled Gauntlet there for the last item slot. Can just wait and let that sort on the bench reroll, or try to get it off carousel. Okay, so the setup right now, a little bit wonky. There's still a 2-star Nefiri in there. I suppose that's providing Shurima trait for Talia. Definitely feels like that can be replaced with something better as the game goes on, presumably. But has the Swain up there for frontline, and then has 3 multicasters, has Oriana in there to provide Sork trait for Swain. And otherwise, the multicasters are all going to do their thing. At least he did manage to hit 2-star TF relatively quickly. And TF's itemization is good, which is what you'd expect when you take Pandora's items, is that you're going to be able to make perfect items or near perfect items. I will say having Pandora's items as a silver augment is not that bad. As a gold augment, it definitely feels a bit weaker. But as a silver augment, it's not that shabby. All right, let's see if you can find the Vel'Koz for 4 multicaster. That would definitely be the biggest spike on the board right now. Not available. Okay, not on this round. I think I'd play the Nefiri over the Galio here. I'm not sure that the Galio would really do much of anything. Perhaps later on for Invoker trait, but I don't think that unit's really doing a whole lot. Did get the rod, so was able to make Jeweled Gauntlets. So these look like good Twisted Fate items. All right, Multicaster trait. Well, we've got a second here. If you're curious what this does, this was around in the first half of the set. Multicaster, the name says what it does. Multicasters cast their ability multiple times. Bonus casts have 55% reduced effectiveness, so they do less damage on their repeated casts. Multicaster 2, they get 1 extra cast. Multicaster 4, 2 extra casts. So they cast again at reduced effectiveness. Multicaster 4 is a pretty big spike, because then your multicasters are all casting 3 times. And as said, it's a reroll trait. And it's a reroll trait because they're all 2 and 3 cost units. If you just try to 2-star them, that's not going to be enough to win at the end of the game. Jin's going to go ahead and pop the TF, but looks like Oriana was standing just far enough to the side that she didn't get taken out by that shot. All right, so it's another carousel here. Again, Myth can kind of take anything that he wants here. You could take the Sona for another Sona. That wouldn't be bad. He's been grabbing Soraka's, and I can see why, because Soraka is going to increase healing and shielding, which would not be terrible in this particular team comp. Also has the option to grab Taric. Yeah, Taric feels pretty good. Feels like a much better Sork than that Oriana. Also provide a little bit of additional front line, which is what this board needs. So you can just replace the Ori with Taric and then start putting some defensive itemization on him down the road as well. Plus rods are generally good for this particular setup. Okay, so there's another Taric. Actually, there's multiple Tarics. Doesn't seem to want them though. Okay. I don't know quite how to build this board. So I don't know quite how you fill out this particular team comp. I'm a little surprised that he didn't replace the Ori with Taric, which feels like a better unit to me. But as I said, I have not built this particular board, so I don't know kind of the ins and outs. I do think the Ionic Spark makes a ton of sense, though, on Swain. Ionic Spark is going to debuff the magic resistance on the enemy front line. This board does not have all that much backline access. Twisted Fate is the main carry. And TF is mostly going to be hitting frontliners, so it's important to have the Ionic Spark to debuff the magic resistance of enemy frontliners, so that when TF hits the front line, he's going to be able to take advantage of that magic resistance shred. All right, so he's going to go ahead and get his cast off on the Misfortune. Oh boy, that's another close fight. Did just barely manage to win that one. Again, still looking for that Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz would really help out a lot here. There's another TF, so that's nice. And there's there's an Azir. That's pretty nice. So Azir could just replace the Nefiri, right? That would keep the Shurima trait in play, and that would also add Strategist, which feels way better than anything else that's in there. I would think that you would maybe that gives up too much front line, but then again, you could replace Ori with the Taric, which would keep Cirque Trade and give a little bit more front line. That seems like it would make more sense to me. I'm not really sure why Ori is still on this board. Feels like there were some better options to play. Went past 3 Tarics, for example. But it does feel like Azir will be on this board at some point in time just because he gives Strategist trait, and that's going to be nice to have here. All right, the Nefiri tanked longer than I was expecting. Not sure that Twisted Fate has the rest of this fight, though. This one doesn't look like it's going to be a win. I think the Samira's got this, yeah. Gonna punch through, which is unfortunate because that was right before a minion round to end the winning streak right before we were about to hit the minion round. Is always kind of an annoyance, but still, I'd say it was a pretty good stage 3. There's the Vel'Koz finally, so Vel'Koz can now be played over something. Has to be better than something. Has to be better than either the Nefiri or the Orianna here, right? Got to be better than one of them. So far is on 5 TFs. I still don't, and there's a Jarvan as well. Jarvan also shows. Jarvan's got to be better than the Nefiri, right? Right? Yeah. I would have thought you'd hold on to the Azir though. I'm not quite sure why continuing to hold the Gallios. I don't quite see. I guess actually now I see it, right, because it's it gives you Demacia trait with the Jarvan. That makes sense. Okay, gives you Demacia trait with Jarvan long term. All right, gonna go ahead and make a Crown Guard for Swain, another frontline item there. And another potential blue buff for somebody that could go on Sona, could go on Vel'Koz. Yeah, as I said, got to get Ori out of there. So I think you would want the, I do think you would want, here's always the problem with the reroll build is you start running out of bench space, which is always annoying. Not enough room to hold all the units you want. All right, there's another Swain. So 6 Swains, 6 TFs, getting there as far as the reroll portion. Could drop Multicaster. Yep, ended up dropping Multicaster in order to get Demacia trait in. Looks like the Radiant item was rolled on the Galio, which is probably not the unit that you want. I think you want Jarvan getting that. Jarvan, I believe, gets Warmogs for his item, which feels a lot better than Radiant Redemption, which is what the Galio had. So I guess that makes sense. If you're going to play Jarvan and you're going to play the Sona, then you might as well play a third Demacian unit and grab the Radiant item. So that does make sense. I don't know if I guess Galio makes sense because you need more frontline. All right, so third and final augment. That round didn't go so great. Combat Caster sounds pretty good. Your units gain shield for after casting their ability. Ended up taking the artifact though. And out of these, Anima Visage would be good. Zanya's and Manazane would be pretty good as well. Could put this on one of them. All right, putting that on Swain does feel pretty good. Going to give him the stasis invulnerability for 2 seconds when he gets low. Give some additional front line. That seems pretty smart. And there we go. Now Jarvan's going to pick up the Radiant Warmogs for that additional front line. So Swain's fully itemized at this point. So far there are, let's see, and there is another Swain. So that's pretty good. Swain is probably Swain and TF are the 2 most important units to 3-star at the moment. More important than anything else. Could always drop the Azir here. I'm guessing that Azir is one of the units you want to put in, but Talia's got to be the next unit in for 4 Multicaster. And then Azir would be probably the next unit in after that. But that's not going to be till level 8, which is a ways away. Myth clearly wants to stay here rerolling until he hits the TF and until he hits the Swain. He's on 8 TFs, 7 Swains. He does still have the champion duplicator as well, so keep that in mind. So he can use that he could actually have TF 3-star right now if he wanted to, if he used his champion duplicator. So he's very close there. And then he can look to level this, and there's his Swain. So oh boy, he could just champion duplicate somebody there. He could use his duplicator. He's on 8 and 8 if he wanted to. I would probably do that so then I could buy the Sona. Or he could keep rolling and see which of the 2 he hits first and duplicate the other one. Also a possibility. Are you going to use it on the Swain or the TF? One of the 2. ends up using it on the Swain. Swain makes sense because the front line is really important here. Is that should definitely pick up the Sona. Yeah, definitely pick up the Sona here. So now just needs to find one more TF. Could even look to go to 7 right now and then just try to find the TF at level 7. Shouldn't be too hard to find another one. And remember, he is guaranteed to get another champion duplicator in a couple more rounds. So I would probably just look to go to level 7 right now to put in the Talia for 4 multicaster. And you're guaranteed to get that champion duplicator, guaranteed to get that TF 3-star from the champion duplicator, even if it doesn't pop up in the store. Anyway, now that the Swain is 3-starred, going to be very strong. Going to be tough to get through that front line. Swain just has to hang in there long enough for all the multicasters to do their thing and get their casts off, and it looks like he'll be able to do that. So pretty good luck at hitting the 3-stars here after having atrocious luck all through stage 2 and the beginning of stage 3, not finding any of the multicasters whatsoever. Just literally didn't find anything. But then was able to get some of them. They just started to pop up. Now, part of that I do think was just having such an accelerated economy from Scuttle Puddle. Myth had a lot of gold to roll with because of the Scuttle Puddle, put his economy much further along than it normally would be. By the way, another double tiers here. So I guess this is the benefit of, yeah, and there's the champion duplicator. This is the benefit of the Pandora's items is you normally would not have enough tiers to make all these blue buffs, but he was able to make a blue for TF, he was able to make a blue for Vel'Koz, and potentially can make another blue for Sona or Talia here if he wants to. What is the mana cost on these units? I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know what their mana costs are, multicasters. So Sona is 90. That's a bit high. Talia's is 60. Okay, so Talia actually, yeah. Putting it on Talia makes sense because her mana cost is only 60. Now, Talia's not going to do that much damage, but her crowd control is really, really strong. So she's going to be knocking people up constantly, because she's got the she's going to cast 3 times, and with the blue buff she's going to cast pretty much instantly at the start of the fight, and then she'll keep casting every, I don't know, like every 3 or 4 seconds, something like that. And she's going to keep getting basically triple knockups each time, because she's going to cast, and then she's going to cast again, and then she's going to cast a 3rd time. So the CC is really appreciated. Actually, yeah, she casts instantly at the start of the fight. TF casts instantly at the start of the fight because he's got the blue. And I believe Vel'Koz, okay, Vel'Koz doesn't cast instantly, but he's like 1 auto attack away from casting. So overall, pretty strong setup here now that it's come together. The early game was a little bit rough, but a lot of the other teams were all playing garbage boards as well, so it didn't really matter that Myth didn't have much of anything. Once he's hit all of his units, this definitely looks a lot stronger. And this is certainly a game where it's come together well. All right, so he lost the last round of stage 3 and the first round of stage 4, but since then he's been on a win streak, and the Swain in particular is definitely tanking quite well. The Crown Guard provides that shield at the start of the fight, and the Zanyas provides that a couple seconds of invulnerability. It just buys enough time for Twisted Fate and Vel'Koz and the other multicasters to do their thing. While we've got a second here, we should go ahead and cover the ability for Twisted Fate, because he is a new unit in this set. He's the only one of the multicasters that was new in set 9.5. So his abilities are Multicaster and Bilgewater. Bilgewater is not being played in this particular game, so we can ignore that. Ability is called Stack Deck. TF throws a hand of cards at the current target, deals damage, and encircles them. After 1.5 seconds, the card explodes, deals damage to nearby enemies. So there's an initial damage, and then there is a higher damage after 1.5 seconds that kind of has minor area of effect properties. The delayed damage is higher. Here at the 3-star, the initial damage, it says, is 370%, the delayed damage 490%, and that's kind of consistent across all these. It's about 30% more on the delayed damage. His itemization is pretty straightforward. You want blue buff and then just, standard AP stuff. Jeweled Gauntlet makes sense. That's something that is fits in there nicely. And in addition to that, the like the Jeweled Gauntlet, the Gunblade are nice options here as well. All right, so a chance to pick up another item just kind of has a leftover component. Makes sense that you could just put this right. Wait a minute, where did the rod go? It just disappeared. What the heck? Oh, there it goes. So he's just going to chuck that on the Talia after making the Jeweled Gauntlet on her as well. Doesn't look like Talia is going to be 3-starred in this game, but she's still pretty valuable anyway. And Myth, of course, was able to go to level 8, slot in Azir, so he was able to get 3 strategists. Also picks up Shurima trait, technically for Talia, though that doesn't really mean that much in this game. The what do you call it? The Shurima trait's not really doing a whole lot here. Probably could also sell the Galio. It seems very unlikely he's going to hit Galio 3-star, but I suppose you never know. Just feels unlikely at this stage of the game that that's going to hit. Sona's getting relatively close, so some item to put on Sona would not be a bad idea. Like a Thief's Glove for her would probably be pretty nice here or there. But yeah, just kind of on cruise control here. Now that the whole board has basically come together, TF's doing his thing. I guess Vel'Koz could use some more items, and yeah, it's a pretty straightforward build, but you definitely do have to hit. This build is not going to look anywhere near as good if Twisted Fate does not have like these perfect items, and if you're unable to hit the 3 stars, this is not going to look particularly strong. But yeah, I mean, when you hit everything like this, it actually looks pretty good. The Swain is also really important because, as I said, the weakness of this board is kind of frontline. If you don't have enough frontline to stand up there and protect the multicasters as they're doing their thing, that it can fall apart really quickly. But Swain having the Zanyas is really nice. That's a good item, good third item for him, so that he can stand up there and tank. Let's see. Even gets the Sork trait from Vel'Koz in there. So I guess you don't really need a unit. Don't need a unit like that Orianna that was hanging around before. Once Vel'Koz is on the board, you get the Sork trait anyway. Not that Sork 2 is really doing all that much, but better than nothing. Never hurts to have that a little bit of additional damage on the board right there. So as far as other players on here, it looks like there's one other team that's strong, the team that's on 74 HP. I believe that's someone who has a Cho'Gath 3 and just has like an insane amount of health. None of the other boards really look that strong. In fact, it's in a super close lobby. 20 health, 10 health, 5 health, 2 health, 2 health, 1 health. But it looks like it's going to start shrinking pretty quickly now because like half the lobby's on single-digit HP. So people are going to start getting knocked out. And yeah, let's see. Is this person going to get knocked out as well? This is the person who was doing a crazy open fort in the early game. Yeah, didn't end up working. They ended up with a 7th. So it went from 8 down to 5 players in one round, and there's still 10 health, 10 health, 2 health here on these other players. Now there's another Sona here, and that's not terrible. In fact, Morelos is a pretty good item on Sona because she hits most of the board with her ability. Could just take the Sona and put the Morelos on her, which would not be the worst thing to do here. Is that what Myth is thinking? He definitely grabbed the Sona. That puts him on 8 Sonas. Let's see who he puts the Morelos on. I think Sona is probably the best person to put it on this board just because she, as I said, does hit most of the team with her ability. And oh, there we go. There's 3-star Sona. Nice. Yeah, there we go. So she actually now has picked up the Radiant item. Does Myth want that? The answer seems to be, well, whether he wants it or not, it seems like he's going to get that. Radiant Spear of Shojin, not bad. It does mean that she's going to cast a lot faster, like a lot faster on this board. I'm not quite sure why he's picking up the Sorakas. I guess that would give him Invoker if he went all the way to level 9, I suppose. I think he could probably play a better unit than that, though. Could probably just look to find Rise or something, or just play like a random Heimer or Scion or something. Don't feel like Soraka's really going to do that much at this stage of the game, because she's not going to put Targon trait in play. I guess she would give a little healing. Oh, well. But yeah, the board kind of cutting through these other players. That was a ghost round, so it's not going to do any damage to the other teams. But cut right through that player. And yeah, it looks like, okay, so the lobby went from 8 players to 3 players in 2 rounds. That was pretty fast. Definitely cut down on that. Yeah, buy the Rise, drop these other units, and go to level 9 and play Rise here. I'm not sure that there's really that much else you're looking for. That feels like it'll be better. Like, why hold the Karma? Buy Rise. Rise is a 5-cost unit. I can't remember what portal this is. I guess it's the Bandle City one. So I don't remember exactly what that Rise does, but that feels like it would be better. I don't think that Myth is particularly close to 3-starring anything else. I would definitely go to level 9 here as opposed to staying at level 8 and just play the Rise for Invoker. That would feel like a good way to cap out this board. I don't think he's going to 3-star anything else. Like, just sell the Jarvan, sell the extra Gallios, get to 50 gold here, sell the Karma, sell the Nico, pick up Rise, go to level 9, play him. A little bit of extra spell casting for your team. What does the Rise that's Bandle City do? I'm just going to look this up because I'm curious here. Bilgewater, Freljord. The little graphical thing doesn't say which one is which. Just gonna have to highlight all of these on the cheat sheet and see. Shadow Isles, Noxus. Wow, I highlighted every single one and I didn't. Literally the last one. Okay, Bandle City. Create a portal to Bandle City. Under a most expensive unit, there's some. Oh, okay. It's the one where you throw in units off your bench. That actually would be pretty strong here. Well, I guess he didn't end up going that route because he didn't pick up the Rise. I have no idea why. I can't see any of these other units on the bench that would be anywhere near as good as Rise. Why would you want Karma over Rise? That doesn't really make sense. Karma just adds damage, but there's plenty of damage already. Now, Rise would actually be pretty good here. Well, there's a Death Cap. I would take the Death Cap for Sona here. That feels great. Okay. I guess so. I feel like Sona with a Radiant Spear of Shojin would be really good with the Death Cap there as well. But oh well, to give a huge attack speed buff to the rest of the team with that. So anyway, Myth is re-rolling here to try to hit Vel'Koz 3-star. I don't think that's consistent. I know that there's a lot of 3-stars out of the pool. I definitely think this is inferior to just going to level 9, playing Rise, and then having Rise throw in like a bunch of 5-cost units off the bench. I think that would definitely be more consistent than trying to find. I guess I think he had 4 Vel'Kozes when he started re-rolling. He found 2 more to get to 6, but the odds you're going to find 5 additional Vel'Kozes feels pretty low. So anyway, I don't think that that's how I would have played it, but it is certainly a possibility. You can try to find more 5-cost or try to find more of these. And there are a lot of 3 costs out of the pool, but as I said, I just don't think it's that consistent. Maybe you get lucky. Looks like he might get lucky here and find the Vel'Koz because he's been finding a ton of Vel'Kozes. But as I said, I don't think that's as consistent as going to level 9 and playing Rise and having him throw in legendaries. All right, so yeah, just gonna opt to roll here. There's another Rise. So he did end up hitting the Vel'Koz, so it did work out. It worked out in this game, but like I said, if I was on stage 6 and I was on 4 Vel'Kozes, the odds that I would be able to find 5 more are not especially great. So as I said, I think it's just more consistent to go to 9 there and play an additional unit and take advantage of 5-cost units. But oh well, as I said, it worked out there. He is on 8 Gallios as well, and also interestingly 6 Jarvans. So getting somewhat close to Jarvan 3-star, but now down to just 10 gold. So probably not going to have a lot of gold left over for rolling more of these. A lot of 5-costs actually popping up in the shop here. But okay, did not find more Jarvans. I mean, Jarvan 3-star would be amazing, but not that likely that you're going to hit the Jarvan 3-star. A little unfortunate not being able to find the. It looks like he's going to replace the Talia and shift items over to the Vel'Koz. That actually makes a lot of sense. Shift these items over. You can't put double blue buff on there. I actually moved that over to Sona. I actually think that was better on Talia, honestly. I think the knock-up on Talia was better having that than Sona having. Sona already has Radiant Spear of Shojin. She really doesn't need a blue buff on top of that as well. Oh well, just my particular thought. Okay, so these rounds have not been all that close overall. This other board is pretty strong, but it just is not holding up here. And it looks like Myth just needs to win 1 more round here. Yeah, he's doing a tremendous amount of damage with all these multicasters. And yeah, even more stuff if he wants here. More blue buffs aren't going to do anything at this point in time. So the Death Cap might not be bad for somebody, right? Death Cap for somebody. Oh, it's a shame he put that rod on the Vel'Koz. Bit of a shame because that could have taken Death Cap and put it on there. Oh, well. So going to keep rolling here. Azir 2-star. Going to put the Nashor's Tooth on Azir. Nashor's Tooth is one of Azir's best items. Also selling the Gallios in the hopes of trying to find more Jarvans. Sitting here on 7 at the moment. One thing Myth probably should do is focus on positioning. Yeah, there's a Cho with like 10,000 HP on that other board, 6 bruisers. But that board doesn't really have that much in the way of damage. In fact, the most scariest unit over there is probably the K'Sante, because K'Sante's got the blue buff and can knock units out of the fight. In fact, the positioning here, the K'Sante's positioned to knock out the Swain, I believe. Yeah. So that's maybe a slight misposition. Yeah, the K'Sante actually got the Swain off the board right there. A bit of a mispositioning here, and oh, this fight actually not going so well. Yeah, I think that what happened in that fight is the Swain got kicked off the board by the K'Sante. So it really just needs to position so that doesn't happen. By the way, there's the excuse me, there's the missing Galio from earlier. Was sitting on the 8 Gallios and came up the 1 short. All right, so yeah, like I said, just really need to make sure that the K'Sante doesn't kick out the Swain, because the Swain is what provides the front line for all the multicasters to do their thing. So this should be relatively straightforward. Myth appears to be on top of it. He was mousing over the K'Sante in the last fight. And yep, there he goes. Just reposition the Swain a little bit to one side. That way he can stand there and tank the damage from Cho. As long as the Swain is alive and just hanging up there for, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, that's enough for the multicasters to do their thing. TF actually is getting jumped on, but the other group of multicasters are all over there on the side. And it looks like that's going to be enough to wrap this one up with a pretty straightforward win. 50 HP in the bank, definitely enough to have a pretty comfortable first. So I do want to thank Myth for sending this over. As I said, I don't have a lot of footage of Multicaster Reroll, so I'm really glad that he was able to provide this and have a chance to look at a different team comp. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Until then, have a great week, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.